So with this, what was it? I saw that they said that something along the lines of £1,400 families are better off per year.
Mm-hmm.
I got to thank Nanny for this wall paint that's washable wall paint.
Mm-hmm.
Just as well, because it works for good old mouldy walls. But the thing is, it means I can draw on it and wash it off. So
Okay.
1,400, right?
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't recommend you do this to any of your walls, by the way, unless it's washable. You got some washable paint. I didn't pay for this. Somebody gifted it to me, so I'm kind of lucky there. So 1,400 and then £450 for Breakfast Club, yes? So BC. And Better Off, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that's not enough. That doesn't even cut it, right? When we look at this much, right? So someone was saying to me that it's all very well, and everyone, when you don't have critical thinking, and again, it's weird to me that I'm not allowed to question government policies.
Yeah.
But in order to formulate your own government, you have to question the policies, okay?
Yeah.
So I look at Scottish National Party, and I often wonder what would happen if they ever ran for UK politics. I mean, wild dream, right? But again, they could. You never know. Or Wales or whoever else. So 450 on the Breakfast Club. Like, it all seems like a really good idea until you understand that it is just an illusion. This is an illusion. This is not genuine. When you think about it, so this is per year. I don't know if it's per month. Or what, it seems a bit much per month, doesn't it? Even if it was per month. I've got to relook at that again, because again, it didn't give too much information. And this is per week. £450 per week. What, is this per child? This is how much you pay for breakfast? Right, this seems like a really good idea, but however, it discriminates the population.
Yeah.
Think about it. It discriminates anyone who is... Right, this seems like a really good idea, and they're really there for the kids, but they're not, because this could have gone into your bank account.
Yeah.
As a parent, to decide what you want, right? So you notice something, that the riots increased when governments upped the age till they're 18. All people go into school until they're 18. Have you noticed the riots get more? They're going to get even more so if governments extend this to the years of 20. The pressure is on the younger people, by the way. It's really much. They're born into a world that they hate. And whether you want to square that with that or not, governments have got the full responsibility for this. So you've got £450 per week that is given to schools. What do you do in the holidays?
I don't know.
So children now have to be institutionalized. This is what they are, which is weird. So they're in an institution. Okay? If you really think that this world's about education, let me give you a breakdown, okay? It doesn't matter whether your results are good or poor, or bad, or terrible, or whatever else. One shoe fits all, apparently. We all live in a Cinderella society, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird to me that education doesn't cater for individual talents. Okay? So the whole thing, to me, needs updating. It's stuck in prehistoric times, okay? So the whole education system needs looking at, because you can't have one shoe fits all. If a child is good at something and they enjoy doing it, get behind them. But where do we end up when robotics come? There is a part of this story that hasn't been told, which we'll go on to another video for that, so it doesn't matter with this one. So we don't have this, we've got this Cinderella society, haven't we? One shoe fits all, yeah? So, and kids are waking up to this. So, I don't know whether to include it into this one. No, I'm going to keep this one short and I'll go on to another video for that one as well. So 450, 1,400 quid, a lady was saying that her children for childcare costs is £50 per day.
Yeah.
You got something like that, £50 per day. So you get to a summer holiday, which is probably what the institutions are going for. They're going to make an ultimatum at some point, if you can calculate forward, that they're going to be abolishing summer holidays because kids keep on rioting. Which I don't think it's true that they're rioting. Where do kids put their concerns in society? When they've got a problem with you fucking governments fucking everything up, where do they tell it to? Who do they go to? No one. Or they whinge at their parents. And their parents get to a certain age and say, you don't know how much of my life I've given up for you. Sad, really, sad. I just wonder if any politicians are giving up their lives for their children not to be around them. And kings, queens as well. Are you giving up your lives so that you don't be around your family and watch them grow up? No? Are you working dead-end jobs where you have to be somewhere continuously and then the kids say, you're never there for me? And then when we look at TV, we're indoctrinated. As a nation, you are all indoctrinated. You are enslaved by what you see on the TV. The TV is a propaganda tool. No ifs or buts about it. It's a propaganda tool. You weren't there for me, the TV says, which puts in your mind, in your subconscious mind, when you forgot about the movie that you've watched and you've seen it in different movies or different programming, well, you got to flee the nest. Did you know it's far more beneficial for people to stay in and live with their elderly family? Because you all pay them one council tax. You all then pay one electricity bill. It doesn't cause such a massive problem in society. However, your children will be used against you because kids need their own room. Kids need their own space. What they're really saying is, well, we need more council tax. It's better to have you all in separate houses. Well, why is that? Well, you got a family of 50 of you that could share a house. Perhaps not 50, but you could all share a house where the rent would be singleized, which it won't because it will change again because they're already prepared for this. So as soon as you're in one house, right, where you've got one rent, let's say it's £750, right? And if one of you worked for shopping, yeah, one of you worked for the tax, which is not a great deal. So we say energy as well, electric, and one of you worked for water. Did you know that your family, after 5 years, would be millionaires? You would have your first million saved up if the family saved and all lived under one roof. But there's a problem with that, very big problem with that. What would happen? What would be the first thing that would happen? So let's say then another one takes care of water bill. Well, we already spoke about this. You know what would happen is these greedy companies would up it per head. It would go up. By the time that everyone would then have this large amount of money because you would be millionaires, after X amount of 2 generations, you would be billionaires by natural default. But if everybody started doing this, guess what would happen? Or 2 things will happen. Yeah. 1, money becomes obsolete and they'd need to print more. Those machines would be printing loads of the king's head on it. It would be inundated with it. But they would go bankrupt come the next time when they had to change the money. So they'd end up stop changing money. Actually, they'd go over to digital currency in this instant because to print the money would cause the banks to go bankrupt because they would have to print in each and every single household across the United Kingdom. Although there would only be a few of them, but they would all have billions inside them because they would all take this way of living. If you want to get rich, let's manifest it. That's bullshit. No, do this. Do this if you want to be rich. All share one house. Then you need a bigger house, which then you start to live a little bit more luxury. Why? Because, well, when you go for a bigger house, you might want to get a swimming pool in that as well, which they are about. But again, they're a hefty price tag. You and somebody else on their own as just a starting out couple, forget it. You'll never be able to afford it unless you are living and working a job. But then all of those high-powered jobs that are starting to come about will be wink, wink, nudge, nudge, replaced with robotics. Only temporarily, by the way. Robots don't last forever. I can assure you on this one. There's so much that they have not counted for. Robots don't last forever. So when you start to live like this, yeah, the bills will all be cheap and everything else, providing that not everybody does it at the same time. Because if they do, then money would go away. You would never see money again. You would see currency as just zeros in a bank account. Again, then what would happen after that is the water would go up and you'd be paid per head. Tax would be per head, which they're already trying. And then you've got electricity that would then be per head. And then you'd have rent that would be per head. Oh, did I write water on there twice? Yes, I did. And shopping. Shopping would then increase. And then anyone outside of this single life would probably be punished. They'd become the new poor in society. Do you see how this all changes? Because greed. There is no one gets together in this world and decides what is going to happen in their country. No. You're left with the 20% telling the 80% what they're going to be doing and how they're going to be living. Okay, so when we look at this one over here, where we've got the 1,400 quid and the 450 in Breakfast Club, this discriminates all parents across the board. Because it's far cheaper for .gov to give this to a corporation Meaning that a corporation would look after your children better than you would. Am I reading this right, that the same corporation are the ones that put weird chemicals inside foods that dissolve teeth? Did you know teeth were really good at one stage for a segment of time, and then corporations started putting in foul products, which then started to dissolve teeth quicker? When you look back at the generations, you've only got your generations to look at. That is evidence. If it was evidence against the courts, then you would win this case slam dunk. But the government seemed to have no power against the corporations, or the corporations seem to run the government, which is kind of weird, either or. You might want to say that they bribe them. And again, bribing, again, I thought that's why we had intelligence agencies. It meant that certain shops and companies couldn't bribe your politicians by giving them incentives, giving them cash incentives and different stuff like that, because you're technically buying out, you're bribing. They'll say it was just a gift. Okay, then. Everything that comes into this household is just a gift. If you can use that excuse, then anyone, anywhere can use the same excuse. Just label any extra income as a gift. It's just gifted to. That's gifted. It's a gift. It's a gift. It's a gift. If you just label it as a gift, it should be all right then. No one's bribing you then. No? Yes? Could be. Couldn't be.
Yeah.
Usually if you're giving something to the tune of thousands in clothing or different things like that, it's usually a gift. What's in the return of that? Let it go and we'll find out. We'll start to find out. So breakfast clubs, so you incorporate these with the children. But the same companies that are putting in experimental products that are similar to give a reaction of poisonous ivy. And then if you were to write to these companies and say that ingredient is not good, it's causing lots of dry skin, it's causing this, it's causing reactions, do you think you will be listened to? And then where's the transparency in that? Where is the transparency in that company revealing all of that information of how many letters they've received? Is anyone actually even checking this? You don't get nappy rash from nappies. You get nappy rash from baby wipes with the chemicals that are inside it. You can prove this one to yourself if you really need to. So this is how the way this one all works out. So we're going to put the trust into the corporations to look after your children with Breakfast Club. So then are we going to see then, if the government are then going to do this, let's go to Dinner Club as well, government, because you seem to know that what kids eat seems to damage their teeth. And this would be then child abuse and neglect. Then that means the government will be liable then if children's teeth become bad. Then it must be because of the food they eat then, yes? Because they now taken part of breakfast and lunch. You might as well do tea as well. And you might as well just have the children. And then you're liable for the teeth decay then, yes? And if the teeth decay still happens with this type of a diet, then you're liable, yes? Well, you must be buying the foods then. It must be the foods. Then you can monitor what foods are which. So rather than going at these companies and saying it's illegal, we won't be adding that, we won't be adding any of this, you won't do that because the laws won't be listened to anyway, and we don't want to show how weak we are. So we'll start a breakfast club, and that is saving you parents loads of money, which it ain't, and your wages have gone up by this much. It's not going to cut it. That isn't going to cut it at all. This has saved the government a large amount of money. Have you noticed that since Labour have got in, all they seem to be doing is taking money away from people? You are no longer, rather than this going across the board to everybody, because, you know, equality and all the rest of it, and equalness and everything else, and not to be discriminated, because we don't discriminate, which clearly you do. You'll only give this to children in a school. You'll only give this to children working in this, this, and this. You'll only give this to people who are at work. You'll only give this to this, this, and this. But you won't give it across the board. That's interesting to me. And this one here, I got to do some more digging because I think that this was per year. Maybe it's per month. But even still, £50 a day to have your children in something, which is what? Start adding that up over a summer holidays. That's how much? Add that up over half term. Add that up over all of the term time. Parents have still got to go to work. Where do the kids go? Childcare. Where's childcare? Again, this brings in the institution again. This is what kids are rebelling against. But if you ever actually go and listen to them, they're overworked. They're not even paid. The adults are overworked and underpaid, but the children are overworked and not paid. And what do they get at the end of it? Well, a qualification so you can go and get a decent job, which the decent jobs are going to be given to robotics anyway. So, and do you really think if you had a bad qualification, do you really think the government or anyone else for that matter are going to be picking and choosing who they hire?
No.
Serious?
If there's no jobs, they are not picking anyway.
So this is not going to work then.
Hmm.
This is not going to work. And then plus the whole dividing everybody. A house divided cannot stand.
Yeah.
Well, no, a house divided in the United Kingdom won't get rich. You will become poor. Family after family, you see it generation after generation. Many bedrooms, but no one living in it. Then when you look at it, so if you think about it then, so you, if you will come from a family of 3, yes?
Yeah.
But you come from a family of 2, which would be your mum and dad, yes?
Yeah.
So we've got M and we've got D, yes?
Yeah.
And then you've got 3 children.
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Child 1, child 2, child 3, yeah?
Yeah.
And then each one of these goes to a house
Mm-hmm.
of their own.
Mm-hmm.
And this one goes to a house of their own. And then you've got mum and dad's house is still going to be the same, yes?
Yeah.
How much more tax is that?
Yeah.
How much more heaters are there?
And water.
And water. So what we then need is, this was functioning for many years
Yeah.
with 1 water tank.
Yeah.
And then you've got, what, let's say storage heaters for argument's sake. You've then got 4 storage heaters in the house, let's say, plus a couple of oil-filled ones.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got 4 of these. Now you've got another 4. Now you have to have another 4. Now you have to have another 4. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 water tanks. What is 4 times 4?
16.
16 storage heaters.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 4 lots of tax.
Yeah.
4 shopping bills.
Yeah.
No share your policy car insurance deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right, when you start to add this up, do you see where global warming starts to
I see.
occur?
Yeah.
Because they're going to heat all of their rooms of the house, even
Yeah.
if they have got the jazziest storage heaters. These ones are going to have to heat theirs. They're going to have to heat theirs. But yet, for all this time, 4 were enough, and you were getting the benefit from it. Plus, there were more. Humans create more heat than their bodies need, and they start to radiate into colder air. That's how it works. You radiate your heat out into a colder object than you. Hence, your clothing feels warm when you take it off, because it's practically colder. I'm warm, and I'm radiating more heat than I need. So, technically, I am heating this room up, even if I didn't have any heating on. I'm heating it up. The process that you want to learn this from is a bed. The bed process. Shut the door. Everyone in your household sleeps in one bed. Okay, so you made the room into a bed. If everyone were to sleep in that bed, you'd be so hot you'd have to open the window, or you'd have to open the door. Technically, you are heating the house. You are also heating the environment just by living and existing, because we are naturally warm creatures that create more heat than we need. The problem is with it that humans are colony creatures by design. You are colonizing. There's a reason why you colonize, because your dynamic is designed to be here in a colder climate. You will not do well in a hot climate. There's a reason behind this. You won't do too well in a hot climate is because you radiate way too much. When the temperature goes past a certain amount of degrees, humans will start to become less and less and less. The numbers start going down a lot. It becomes rapid and rapid and rapid. You are all dividing these houses, and now you are not adding. So when you look at a heater and you say that it is, I don't know, 4 kilowatts, you're saying that that's 100 people. You need 100 people to burn that hot in a room and heat the room. So certain times in school, one of you might be, you see, the difference with human heat is a very strange thing. By design, your heat works like this. If you're a colony of 100 underground, one of you would be feeling cold if you just came back. Well, some of you would be really hot. Your heat would then go into the colder person if they were near you. Have you ever noticed when someone's been outside and they're around you, they sort of give off this cold aura, and then they begin to warm up, but it begins to cool you down at the same time. This is how humans are meant by design. Humans being broke up is not a good idea. this is not a good idea. You're starting to see it now. If you think that it's petroleum is the only thing, hot appliances is another, hot water tanks is something completely different as well, and then radiators on top of this, it's insane. It's insane the amount of heat that you're pumping into this planet. And even if you were to get rid of all of the wonderful things that are about, wouldn't be enough because your numbers are increasing. But you are no longer colonizing. So here's another one for you then. If you take a standard tank and put it on your roof, it gets hot. The water gets hot enough for you to shower underneath that water. No element needed. Even if you had solar panels and you were to line the back of the solar panels with hose pipe. Not hose pipe because it smells funny and you might have a reaction to the rubber lining inside there, but you can use anything else. Okay, so the clear pipe that is suitable for drinking from, and you were to run the water through there very slowly so it drips into a container bit by bit behind your solar panels during the day, you would generate hot water off of your solar panel. And what you would do is you would cool down your solar panels. And also you'll be utilizing this heat to bring it inwards. If you got cold toward the evening or something else like that for that matter, you would then warm up from the tepid shower, let's say. This would be far more beneficial. Why? Because you've just removed the heat from outside that would have built up outside, which would have got into the rivers, then leads to the sea then touches the ice caps then begin to melt, and this runaway effect happens. You need to take the heat from out and bring it in. It's pretty weird, but it makes sense. When you start to remove the heat from objects that get hot and save it into something else, you can utilize this. Because when you feel cold, and if you were to go into that water, you would absorb the heat and then you warm up yourself. You have just taken that heat from the environment and your body is then requiring it at a certain time. The same to be true with humans. We're cold and hot at different times, but when you are corrugated together, you will give this to someone who's colder, and by design, you will be back and forth sharing this heat and cooling. You are then not pumping that heat outward. You are putting it into something or someone else that is colder. When you start to split humans up like this, you run away the environment problem even faster. You've got houses that are poorly insulated. Again, I want to get onto that as well, because that's another interesting little scam that the government are up to right now. We're all in the wrong jobs. Do you know why? If you were to buy a house, yes? And it has no insulation in the house whatsoever, it's poor and everything else, the government will take taxpayers' money, and then this is when it becomes your house, even though you're renting it, and they will put a heat pump in there for you. They might even put insulation in there for you. Government incentive, they'll give you a grant for this, you don't have to pay it back. But that's bollocks, they're not giving it to you. Could you imagine the government saying, right, you now owe us this money for those solar panels? I mean, pathetic. Then you can have solar panels put in there. So we've got solar panels, heat pump, what else? Insulation, what else?
Heaters.
Storage heaters, doesn't matter, either or. I don't think you'll have a heat pump and storage heaters. Probably
either
will.
or.
And storage heaters, yeah? They'll give you a grant. And then these get put on the house, yes? So you get some solar panels put on there. You are not going to get the energy for that. You will, but you're going to pay for it standard grid rate. That's how it is. Then they'll install a heat pump into the property. And then they'll insulate your loft for you. Then the landlord kicks you out. All of these things stay. And yet the landlord, who's already making, if they've got 6,000 houses, have bought this house at £50,000. Now, think about that grant that you've just been given, which you haven't been given. Now, when they go to sell that house, how much is the value of that house? Now we can sell it with solar panels. That's a cash incentive. Now we can sell it with insulation, and now we can sell it with a heat pump. Who makes the money?
Landlord.
The housing association.
Housing association,
So, a company that is already on the way to being multi-million has just become a billionaire by selling up all of their houses, right? Because they've now got extra things in that they never had to pay for. And then you, the tenant, are told that this is for you. This grant is for you. You're going to get the grant. You can tell me what part of that is you getting a grant.
It's not
So who does this make rich then?
rich association.
So who does it make poor?
Poor people, even poorer.
And this is for our common good of... So again, do you see why people call global warming a con?
Yeah.
They know there's something amiss, but they can't quite put their finger on it. They know that there's something, right? Because remember, you're throwing this at tax. Tax is being taxated, that they've got grants to pay for all of this stuff. But when it comes for a business loan, they've got nothing. When it comes for your NHS dentist, they've got none. When it comes to paying elderly in pensions, they've got none. But when it comes to paying for anyone on benefits, they've got none. But when it comes for a grant for people who are already multimillionaires, they've got loads. And there are these things called grants. Don't have to pay it back.
Oh, yeah.
This is definitely Robin Hood in reverse then, yeah?
Yeah, it is.
And you've also broke my trust. Then people start to question about the environment. Is it true? Well, no, not really, because this is the real agenda. And this is from Labour, that care about the working class. So then can you tell me what part of a grant this really is? So you don't have to pay that back. So that means then, if I went and bought a load of houses, which I wouldn't, I'd just get them on HP. And if I could pay the house off really quickly,
Yeah.
which if I'm selling it, I'm allowed to kick the occupants out, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, give them proper
Right, so
note and-
again,
yeah.
I can kick them out.
Yeah.
This is a fucking con, mate. This whole fucking government is a con.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not meant to be, bollocks. Prove it otherwise. So I can have these tenants move in. I know their address. I know who they are. So I can send them these grants that the government will give you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I rub my hands together and I wait, and then they take up on the grant. Well, you know, you could get cheaper bills if you do this. Well, you know, you could get rid of some of that damp by doing this. Well, you know, you could do this if you got a grant, you know. And then I can say that I'm going to sell the house, which I am, because, you know, I bought the house at 50,000, let's say. And now it's got all of these mod cons. Even though I'm still paying a mortgage, that house is going to be worth more. So if I go to sell it, which I can, then I can give back that loan that I took, pay it off early. You can get one of these loans where if you pay it off early, you don't have to pay the interest. And I'd make an extra so many grand in my pocket then, yeah? Then if I bought another one and did this to it... Oh, after all, I am green, right? Green in greed, green in envy, perhaps all money, because I will be the green of the envy of the world, really. I become a multimillionaire after a few years of doing this.
Yeah.
And what? That would be me sticking my hand in the taxpayer's pocket. Whilst they come out talking about people on benefits are the ones that are committing fraud. Yeah, whilst you're looking over there at those people, you ain't looking at this. And then tell me how much all of this new stuff costs. How much is it for new storage heaters? It's in the thousands. How much is it for insulation? It's in the thousands. How much is it for a heat pump? It's in the thousands. How much is it for a solar panel? It's in the thousands.
For millionaires, it shouldn't be that much, should it?
Yet, rather than making law so that anyone that owns these 6,000 houses will have to do two things. Sell some of your houses in order to modernise them.
Yeah.
You know, a law.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for, isn't it? Writing laws to make things... But they won't listen. And the only way to get them to listen is to offer free money. But tell the tenant... The way it's written and it's worded, it's manipulative. Your home, well, it ain't my fucking home, I rent it. Your bills, well, it doesn't lower my bills because I don't get anything back from the solar panels. So, again, and then people are like, no, what are you whinging for? Why, it's your money, I guess. That grant come out of your money, I suppose. So, yeah, why the hell am I whinging? Then when you tell them this, watch their faces pucker. Fucking what? Yeah, how long would it take you to buy all these things for your bought house? Well, I can't. Why? Because of people on benefits, let me guess. Oh, because of pensions, right? No, it's because of this. People with money never need to spend money in order to update their houses. And they don't. And you wonder why they don't do the repairs when they're meant to. You wonder why they leave the properties to fall into wreck and ruin because they got insurance. You know, there's this slow insurance, right? That is very clever that they've worked out. All the old buildings.
Yeah.
Do you know why they're painted black? Do you know why some buildings have a black pelmet round the bottom of the house? Do you know why the old beams were painted black on the outside of
and
buildings?
some whole buildings, old ones.
The old buildings were painted black in order to keep the timber from getting too wet. The light hits onto the darkness, which causes it to get hot.
Yeah.
This heat then evaporates the moisture from the timber, keeping the timbers dry. Now, modern ones know that if they go and change the colour of the paint, this causes these buildings to rot down. These are the type of people that would murder you, but in a slow way. They would give you little drops each time until they reach the death. The same way that they go and get insurance, but the insurance companies don't do any investigating. These buildings have then, with the beams that they've got, are no longer painted black, they're painted brown.
Yeah.
Which then it doesn't really evaporate the moisture from them. So these buildings start to fall down, and then they stand with their hand open at the insurance company. Well, it isn't going to be for them, it's going to be for their children's children. It's an investment is what it is. And the insurance company is the going investment. And the insurance company come and have a look. Oh, yeah, it's because it's old. Well, it's not. It's because they've changed the paint. Because, again, clearly they mustn't have built these buildings themselves, which we know they didn't. Probably brought in some slaves to do it. I think it was slavery in the times of slavery. So, yeah, they brought in some slaves to do it. But there's knowledge that's been lost, you see. Because it was never meant to belong to them. It was meant to stay in a family. But they took it from one way or another, and then the information's been lost, you see. Wink. No, it's because they can't pull these buildings down. They're stuck with them. But they can get insurance, and they can let things leak all over these beams, and they can let it do this, and then it falls down. And then if it is somebody in the building at the time, it was just an accident, implying that no one's at fault, when clearly there is someone at fault. You've stopped maintaining the building the way it should be maintained. It's interesting, really. This building, they'll say, oh, we've got the back of the house, right? It gets it's prone to damp because it's south-facing? No, it's not south-facing, is it?
This is north, isn't it?
North-facing.
Yeah.
But do you not think that you couldn't get a metal bar that runs around the house that comes more so to the back, so that when the light hits onto the front of the house, it heats the bar, and the bar heats around to the back, because heat likes to radiate into colder areas, so it finds its way, and you can heat the back of the house during the summer. Did you know if you actually built this into a box with a magnifying glass that hits the metal, it causes that front of the metal to heat up? You insulate it on the outer side at the front, but you allow it to go into the wall around the back. This causes the moisture to disappear from the back of the house during the summer, which then allows it to get damp in the winter. But again, you still have sun in the summer. You would utilize the heat to move it. I mean, that's an interesting thing. Even if you had solar panels at the front of the house that had heat bricks in the back, you'd never see a damp problem again.
Or you could just plain insulate the north side.
Yeah, but even insulating it, it's not going to work because that side of the house is colder, so therefore it gets hot one side and it condensates to the other side. This is going to become an even bigger problem. Soon houses are going to be so sweaty that you won't be able to stay in them. Because the environment's getting hot. There is no more cold spots for it to all condensate down to, and even when it does, it causes this situation to run away. You see, this global warming situation is so complex that it is more than one factor running away that is causing the issues, that then knocks onto houses, which then knocks onto buildings. Yeah, but whilst we've got warmongers in power, you know, that's another thing that I look at, these individuals that are in power. Warmongers. Con artists and warmongers. I mean, how did we get to this? You all deserve a newspaper rolled up and dushed across your fucking noses. Sorry, that wasn't violent, was it? Wasn't too violent, was it? You're not going to come and arrest me for it, are you?
No, it's not too violent.
Oh, that's okay then. Considering the ones say that, the ones that would send men, women, and children will become injured in a severe battle, which we call, what is it again? We call it nationalism? No, it's not that, is it? No. Heroic? No, it's not that, is it? Stupid? No, it can't be that one. Oh, well. Well, we don't get our hands dirty. We still go and you're still going. Yeah, so we've noticed throughout history, you don't get your hands dirty. I'll get you some more stuff to steal, by the way, if you wanted to. You know, this is the hard-hitting shit, I suppose. There's plenty more of this stuff going on. So you mean to tell me that corporations with loads of money that are making multi-millions, then they're going to be turning those millions into trillions if they were to ever sell the houses. And we know that they do sell the houses because council houses have already been sold, right?
Yeah.
And now there's no more money going into the pot to build more council houses, which is very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they've already been sold.
Yeah.
So they could sell them at any time they wanted. With all of these little treasures that were grants, right?
Yeah, there were grants for some not so rich tenants, yeah.
And now you make the millionaires trillionaires.
Yeah.
All via taking it from the taxpayer.
Mm-hmm.
So when's that money then, rather than being called a grant, I'm sure as hell it should be called a loan, but it shouldn't be given to the tenant. So the tenant goes and gets this, and then I got to sell the house. Here's your eviction notice.
Yeah.
Wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you see how I could abuse this system so easily? But it wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be great. That would be a terrible thing, wouldn't it? And then we've got this runaway thing. Quick, get more houses. Quick, look, now we need 16 storage heaters, and that's just in what? Family of 4? Well, you'd say 6, but again, you could say 2, 4, 6. Then they're going to have their children in the house. And
if they stuck together, grandparents could help with the children. They wouldn't have to go to some childcare or something. And
whilst the washing is drying out on the line, because one of them would take care of the washing, there would be this communal area.
Yeah,
well,
and siblings maybe have different time holidays than other, the grown-up children. So auntie and uncles could
yeah, but you're indoctrinated though.
take care of the kids. That's how I was a kid.
I just
was
wonder
with
why in
aunties,
tribes
uncles.
no one goes doolally with Alzheimer's. Why is it only in the Western world? It's not in tribes.
Because people get separated from the younger generation.
Well, is it because people get separated, or if we go full circle, is it that they're putting things in food?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, it goes together, I think. Put things in food, move the younger people, older people.
And then you got to stage it up in
people.
television.
Yeah.
Oh, so-and-so starting a...
Everyone,
I'm thinking about putting her in a home, you know.
Yeah, everyone has to have their own bedroom. I had bedroom with my sister. I had a classmate, and they were 3 in one bedroom, and they lived happily. They lived.
Yeah, now that's
They
called
didn't die,
overcrowding.
yeah.
Unless you're coming from a different country, then we can overcrowd you as much as we want.
Yeah. So they had bunk bed and drawer. And it was girl and 2 boys actually having one bedroom together.
And you'll notice something, going back in from the roots here, which would be the Celts.
Yeah.
Celts? Celts.
Yeah.
Either or.
Yeah.
The Celtics. Celts. Celts.
Yeah, one is in Irish English, one is in British
Whatever.
English.
And each when they were all doing their own thing, rather than this Cinderella story where one shoe fits everybody, and apparently you'll be promised a great job. Okay. And you'll climb the ladder. They are corporating everything, turning everything that you can do into a corporation. You know? Oh, tell us how you're going to have this, this, and this in your house. Well, I might put that in every house. Might charge a little bit more on the rent. You see, this is what is knackering the country. Then it becomes more and more expensive. You see, this is how it's breaking the society. And it's socialistic. No, it's not socialistic, actually. It's common sense and realistic. 1, it takes the burden off of care homes. 2, it takes the burden off of carers that are becoming less and less and less because they're underpaid. It would take the burden off of schools, because I'm pretty sure that the elderly generation might be wanting to teach sums the way it used to be. I mean, if you really think that you're not going to get a job because your education... Didn't your grandfathers leave school at around 12? Lacking of qualifications, and they built a lot more monuments than we see today. I mean, Romans built those without engineers qualifications, didn't they? Now with all of this engineering, what have we got? Things that break every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Everything is breaking.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest bodged society I think I've ever seen. Oh, you're slagging it off. We must bring back treason. No. It's because I've happened to see something a little bit different and far more better for everybody. And well, I say everyone. A lot more people than there already are happy. A lot more people. This is ridiculous. Whatever happened to building social housing, but yet social shops for people? And if they earn a certain amount of money, they then move on to a different, and then and then there's somebody else with a small business that could make a corporation. When we look at all of the fabric softeners and the washing powders and everything else, it's all made by the same bloody company.
Yeah.
Different brand names, but same company. Why didn't you ever go trying to make some? Well, you won't be allowed. Why? Because they dominate the market. It's no different from Coca-Cola nearly owning all of the drinks inside the shop. Nearly all of them.
Yeah.
What are you allowed to make yourself then with that type of competition? And even if you were building a business and they saw it and thought, well, we want to take that out, who can get the ingredients of your stuff that you're making at a dirt cheap price?
Yeah.
So who's going to win that battle? You, a person that is at home trying to build a business up from nothing, and you have to take the ingredients at the most expensive way possible. And then you start to build a business, and then another company comes and takes over with it. All of this in the name of corporation.
Yeah.
For what? For what? To have nothing and you'll like it? They're going to destroy it for themselves. They've got a big shock coming to them when they start rolling out AI. It won't work, by the way. No, of course it won't. It will work for a little while, but not forever. I got a very big shock coming to them, all of them that are making the robotics. They seem to have forgotten a lot of history. Or perhaps they know about it, but have hid it, but will keep playing it like we are. Soon all of this stuff won't work. None of it. Because there's something that they don't know. Well, I'm going to reveal it to them since they like to take some stuff, but we'll see. Yeah, so anyway, with this, not sure it really is going to work there. I'm sorry it isn't. There's no I'm sorry. I'm not apologising for it. This is the way it is. You know, and again, if everyone started to live in the same house, they would do a few things. One, they'd either lower your wages because you all live in the same house, or two, they would start upping up all of these per head. They start charging you per head. When you move the school into the ages of 20 and you start rolling out these breakfast clubs, expect some shit, government. Really, I would, because I think you're damaging the younger generation before it's even lifted off the ground. You're making a whole lot of promises that none of you can deliver on. You are knackering the society. There is nowhere listening to the youngsters that are saying that they are overworked. They don't ever get to see their parents. They don't get to see this. And then we've got TV corporation companies that are putting in there that, you know, someone's going a bit too loudly, I'm going to stick them into a home.
Yeah.
Subconscious, then you think about it, what's happening? She's starting to go a little bit like this, or, you know, my mum might be starting to, you know, experience some signs here. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to stick them in a home because that's what the TV told me to do. Although you're not going to say that because, you know, that's just what everybody does, right? Wrong. No, it's not. Tribes seem to work pretty well at this. And for the most part, they are very stable with one another. For the most part, they are very stable. They're very respectful to the environment. We're not. They all share one fire. It's interesting, that, isn't it? They all share one fire. That is very interesting. Could you imagine if they all had to live in their own properties? How many fires that would be in each property? Can you see how that then begins to start smoking things out?
Yeah.
See, that's the problem.
Burning too much resources. They don't have that much wood around, do they?
We've got nothing here that benefits you to heat anything up like this, and this. We've got the new one coming out where you have to ask permission to have solar panels. Why would you need to ask if the answer is always going to be yes? You don't need to ask. Just state that you're getting solar panels and that's it. Why do they need to know it? Well, because we've got to make sure it's all done correctly. It's none of your business. Oh, come and do an expenditure with us just to make sure you can afford a house. Why do you need to nosy in at my finances? I don't want to tell you any of that. Why should I tell you what is what? Well, we need to make sure that you can afford it. Wait, have I afforded this building? Well, yes. You just need to know where my point is. Does rent come first? Yes. Oh, okay then. End of conversation then. Have you got anything else? Have you got anything else? Have you got anything else? Why do I need to tell you all of this stuff? Well, because we just need to make sure. Why do you need to make sure? I just don't get it. Another way to know who, what, why, when, how many people you're allowed in your house, you must tell us about it. You got to tell us about this. You got to tell us about that. You got to tell us about this. We need to know the ins and outs of it. Why do you need to know all of that? It doesn't make sense to me. It's just another way to log more stuff about you. Oh, we got to do a credit check. Oh, we got to do this. We got to do that. We got to do... Oh. And you want to tell me why there are so many homeless people? It's exploding. You want to tell me why there are so many decaying teeth? You want to tell me? So what are we going to do soon? Are we going to start putting dentists in schools only then? Are we going to start having doctor surgeries in there only in schools? Are people not allowed to make a choice whether they want homeschool or not? No, because that's not right. Why? Because, well, that's, there's got to be some conscription here. So you had these children then, in order to send them off to battle to fight for their country, which really isn't theirs. No critical thinking. Because, if it was, then what happened to Germany after the war? Nothing. Germany still spoke Germany, they still have a military, they still have this. So you mean to tell me just to get one person, just to go for one person, that many people needed to die? So if one person went to another nation and brought down that leader, they would become heroic then, would they?
Yeah.
And you mean to tell me that we're in this day and age, and this is not the way it is? Why does it have to affect the people? Does Germany still make German rules? And any other battles that we've gone to? Do the Taliban make their rules over in Iraq now?
Yes, somehow, yeah.
So nothing changed then. We just took our leader. That's it. That is it.
Yeah, looks it.
Why did that many people then need to die needlessly then? Do you mean to tell me that this comes from the nation with sniper rifles, all that sort of stuff? I don't agree with any of it, but still, with all of this equipment, but it takes a whole military to take out one person.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It takes that much destruction whilst we go to school and we're taught that we sort out with our enemies and different things like that, yes? So we talk about it and that we sit round a table and discuss things like mature adults. And yet these can't do it because of that excuse, because of this excuse, because of this excuse, because of this excuse, because of that excuse. If I was acting like that towards my enemies, I would be in jail, labelled as a criminal, labelled as this, labelled as that. But when it happens on the world stage, that is perfectly acceptable. Oh, when we look at Russia and this situation that's going off, so if Russia win, Russia will write that they were the heroes and they were the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
If Britain win, they will write that they were the good guys.
Yeah.
So there is no good or bad then, there's just a difference of opinion over something. I mean, this is just, I don't know. And then if you got it with Ukraine and Russia, if Ukraine win, they're the goodies. If Russia win, they'll be the goodies. Well, we wouldn't know because we're only limited to this bandwidth of the internet, which is Western minded.
Yeah.
So if anyone did have another opinion, you'd have to go over to theirs. You'd actually have to enter in their schools and learn from their way up that they might have a different opinion, which is what the East is, different opinion, right?
Yeah.
Do they have a different opinion? Well, clearly they do. They must not agree with what we do because of the way they respond to us. So they see it from a different perspective, but that's called brainwashing? Well, how else do you tell your own people that that's propaganda?
Probably like that, yeah.
So that would be propaganda. It's not right because we didn't say it was.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they come and voice their opinion here, they'd be shadow banned? Bit like the old days of being in a church, really, isn't it? And you talking out like Galileo did, and then is under house arrest, and then is shadow banned. Today's version of that is shadow banning. No one's allowed an opinion, shut down their YouTube channel. I mean, that is shadow banning. But yet, unless you are licking the arse of your nation and clapping it into destruction, you're good. You can go really far with your views. But as soon as you say something in the opposite or have a difference in opinion, you're shut down. And then your opinion isn't heard. And then look at the kids. That's what is happening to the kids. And you wonder why they grow up in a world where they hate it. And this movement is growing and growing. And the government, undoubtedly, and corporations, if whoever may be involved, perhaps all, bring themselves down. I find this absolutely incredible. And whilst we're living in this and we're clapping for this, well done Labour, well done Tories, well done King, well done Queen. This is what we come to. This. And then they say, yeah, but we've got to do it because of global warming. Excuse me. This is to stop global warming. So then you're saying that these people are responsible for it, but you have no power over them. Is that what you're saying? Without actually saying it. But you're looking at me like you're saying it. And then you can go on and stand at that podium with the straightest face and lie to people. By the way, we're going to cash in. By the way, taxpayers, we're going to dig into your pocket. What for? Millionaires. To do what with it? Well, we're going to make out that it's you that gets the best deal, but technically it ain't. None of you are going to get the best deal from this.
You are allowed to live there for a bit.
You can live there for a bit, but you got to pay for it.
Yeah. We'll raise your rent.
And you mean to tell me that they've got no incentive in this? They've got no cash incentive. They're not getting this back because it's called a grant.
No.
Wait, what? So, Labour, any of those free gifts got anything to do with this then? Well, it was happening before our time. Yeah, wasn't it?
You can get gift even if you are not in power.
We haven't got enough houses. Well, it's funny how you shoot yourselves in the foot.
Yeah. Instead of promoting family living.
You haven't got enough houses because you're using people's children against them.
Yeah.
Well, if you're all overcrowded in this building, we'll have to come and take your kids.
Allow slightly bigger houses for bigger families. And then they all fit there, don't they?
Then we're worrying about whether we're going to build or eat, but yet this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
How many people in one household? And then you see some of these big houses, and there's what, 2 people in it? Why do you need? You've got such big.
Yeah.
With acres and acres of garden. Sure as shit you can't be in all of those spaces at once.
No.
I'm still splicing, by the way, but once I've managed to splice an alternate version of myself, about, I think I can fit like 3.2 million versions of myself inside your garden alone. And that's with our arms out spinning around in a circle. These are the type of size of gardens that you've got. We wouldn't even touch each other. Then if I need that much space, if I build something in there, I need this many storage heaters, and then I need that. Oh, man, that's. Then I need to cut down this many trees. Okay, no, I could stand in there like trees. Do you ever do that? You find out how many of you could fit in there if you could splice yourself. How many versions of yourself could fit? I often wonder how many versions of myself could fit inside the house and live comfortably. The conversations are wonderful. A bit like Jack Sparrow and the ship that's in the desert, where there's a lot of him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he talks to each other.
Yeah. I mean, whoa. And then at the end of it, we'll go to a battle and then we'll knock it all down. For what? One person plus all their treasure. So we built the whole empire on theft. Do you know how we take over other countries? We infiltrate them.
Yeah.
There's loads of us living in different areas, and then you ever get that same feeling? But that should be all cool, though, right? That should be cool. That's how this whole thing was built. Ooh, weird times. And then we need to make even more houses and even more empty space. And then we indoctrinate everyone to be separate and divided. Because could you imagine this family of individuals that stay together with their generation in that same house? It doesn't matter. Anyway, it really doesn't, because...
but if people stuck together more...
Yeah, but that would be a problem, though, wouldn't it?
There would be problem for government, wouldn't it?
Well, yes, because the families would...
Not enough money to pay.
Well, would it not be enough money?
Yeah, not enough council tax.
Yeah, but what would it serve for council tax, then? You would lose council tax, yeah, but you'd also wouldn't be paying for... elderly people to go inside a home somewhere. Because again, that's what happens when you knock out the pension pot, isn't it? That they're saying that then, it sounds to me like if I had to look at this situation, if you don't pay someone a pension, you then overrun the care homes, and then you get back the houses and then can say, look, we managed to make this many extra houses. Well, because if you think about it, how many people that were claiming a pension would then have to go to a nursing home? And if people are doing that in the thousands, because there's that many elderly people, because people are living older and older and older, longer and longer and longer, they all leave their houses or sell up. They go to this place here where they're allowed all in one room. Funny, isn't it? Okay, we come full circle. You're allowed in one room when it comes to nursing homes. You're all allowed to share the same house. Why do you think it's done that way? Because it's cheap. Because it's too expensive for you to all be inside your houses. But again, if I had to work it out, Labour would be doing this. So again, I think it comes back to corporations again. If I had to look at it, it's government planning, I think, that they would do this in a way that would, I don't know. So you've got, let's say if loads of elderly people then leave their house, yes, go to an old people's home, whatever it's called, residential home, elderly care?
Yeah, residential.
Residential, yes?
Yeah.
You've then lost 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got 4 houses, let's say. 4 people have gone to a residential home. You've then got 4 extra houses. Times this over each village, per each town, per each capita across the whole United Kingdom. What do you think Labour can say at the next general election? That they're so much more better than Tories? They won't tell you honestly how they managed to accomplish this. So part of the houses will be rebuilt. So let's say if they manage to build 50,000 houses like they say that they're going to build, or how do you not know that half of that number or a third of that number isn't because they haven't honestly got out and said that we've made all the old people leave the houses. Elderly, you know what?
Yeah,
Politically incorrect when I'm saying all of this.
Yeah.
Okay? They would make all of these leave their houses. These would have to be sold. The money then goes back into the taking care of them in a residential home.
Yeah.
These houses that then get sold, then rich people would buy them, who are already in the housing market, who've got a lot of houses, then get even more houses, backhand deal, at a cheap price, mates rates or corporate rates. Corporate rates. Excuse me. Sorry, corporation rates.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called, corporate rates. They get a really good deal. Because you're not going to tell anyone how we got these houses, are you? Of course I'm not. I've had my hand in your pocket since the days you were created. Of course. Then we'll give you these for 20 grand then. 4 houses, 20 grand? You just got to house some people for us. Yeah, no problem. We can do that. But these houses are going to need doing up because they've been left for so long. Yeah, we've already got you covered. We'll get the people, because we know their address. We'll send them all of this stuff and we'll wave Grant in their face. That's a good idea. Yeah, let's do that, shall we? What, and we make them pay for it? Yeah, and then you can just sell up. And then what happens when we sell up? Well, there'll be a nice bonus in it for you. Twice. Yeah, this seems like how this would go. Nothing's in it for you. It's always about how it makes you. I mean, if this is how politics is working, it's dirty.
Yeah.
That is dirty. That is not honest. That isn't integral. And what's this crap you tell me? Got to be integrity and all the rest of it. What the hell is this? And you'll say, oh, it's not happening like that. Like it ain't happening like this. Like it ain't happening like this. So that's why. And then what happens if you go after people who are on benefits? Then they become homeless.
Yeah.
Then what happens? We free up more houses, right? Because they can go into a hostel. Which, what is a hostel? Shared property.
Yeah.
See? Overcrowding is not a problem when it comes to hostel, but inside a house, it is a problem.
When it comes to institution.
Well, yeah, when it's an institution, when it's
Can
something
be
that
care
the
home,
government
can be hostel.
is
Yeah.
giving you, then a hostel is fine.
Yeah. If you have a hospital where people stay for a longer period of time, that's shared as well.
Go and rent a room somewhere. It's £600, but at least you don't need to pay this. You don't need to pay that. Water all inclusive. Electric is all inclusive. Hold on a second. How much was that? What? Water all inclusive? No. The last bit. Electric all inclusive? No. How much is the rent? Oh, it's around 600 quid. Definitely not haunted.
Unhaunted.
You've just finished paying the mortgage? I'm sorry, what I meant to say was I've just finished paying the mortgage and I gotta sell the house now, so you lot all gotta find yourself new homes. Wait, what? Oh, but I do have this other property. I mean, someone I know has this other property where you could probably get a really good room. Just tell them you know me. And then you move into that house and then you start renting that out because you're renting a room, and then you've then paid another house, then they need you to go because they're going to sell it. Cool, you're making tons of money very quickly on this.
Yeah.
But is it ethical? So that's legitimate. It's legitimate to share one room inside a hostel with children. Well, they might be able to have one of their rooms, it's called Contagion or whatever it is called. I can't remember what it's called now. Get this other place, because it might be, it might not be. It might sort of be okay, but it's not okay. Weird. We've come a long way since the days of hunter-gatherers first getting together, really, haven't we? This is all, weird to me. And then you make up an awful lot of houses because they've built lots of these contagion rooms, which are really small. Bedsits, basically, with an extra room. And they're overcharged as well, by the way. But it's doing you a favour. Think of a warehouse and how many ways you could divide it up. Think of how many ways you can divide a house. When you really think about it, Oh, how many could I get out of there? 2, 6. I reckon I could get 6, 8 bedrooms out of this place. Well, you already know. I can get 8 bedrooms out of this property here. I mean, that's impressive, is it not? You got to utilize the space in a really cool way.
Yeah.
And you can get 8 bedrooms out of this. So if you can get 8 bedrooms out of this property alone, it's incredible. But it would be unethical, and it might not be safe, and it might be, there'll be loads of rules and reasons as to why you're not allowed to do that. And then you'll find them doing it in residential homes and hostels, and that would be okay.
Yeah.
Because they find a way that suits their purpose. No, I don't agree with this, and I think that there's a better way that this could be done that works for everyone. And no, this would not be a grant. That's absolutely out of the question. No, they would be made to pay for it. It would be loaned to the company. No ifs or buts. If you own this house, you are going to bring it up to speed. Well, where are we going to find the money? I don't know. This thing called fucking profit, perhaps? How about you sell a few of your houses? Helps the Bank of England. You sell a few of these houses, and then maybe you've got the money, to sort out all of that. Oh, are you swearing at me? I didn't think I did. That sounds like you're swearing. How dare you insult me? I'm offended by you. I'm so sorry. Happens a lot. I just get used to it. It's like watching paint dry some days. It's predictable is what it is. No, this wouldn't be a grant. Not at all. I think if taxpayers knew, they would demand that this is not a grant. It's a loan. Well, how does that work? Well, each item should be taken from that. Well, we will charge it from the rent. Well, you're going to be charging it anyway.
Yeah.
Whether it's the energy or this, that, and the other, you're going to be charging for that.
Yeah. Even whether it's grant, you will be charging for better property.
And then they say to me, if you can't afford it, should you have it?
Yeah.
Right, it's a lot of people who are up in high places that will say this. If you can't afford it, don't get it. Then should you have it? Wait, what? If I can't afford it, should I have it? If you can't afford to put the shit in and modernise the houses, then should you have it?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not allowed to say that to me. Why the fuck not? Because you're a pauper. Okay then. Well, I just did. I don't like your attitude. Well, it's funny because your smell's kind of funny too. No, this is where they're going to say that we managed to build this many houses. What's that smell? I can smell it. No, you didn't build them, did you? You're going to say it in a word that says that we found this many houses, or we managed to make this many houses available, which then avoids the whole build it. If I was a fly on a wall, that's what I reckon. Where did you get all your intel from? I just work it out. You must be talking to someone. Yeah, I've got a little mouse. Oh, okay then. It's an imaginary friend. Yeah. But no, so yeah, I think that being in one house, I think is very beneficial. No, I don't think this is working at all. It's already clawed back in another corporation, which is government funded again. It's very expensive considering it is. And then this breakfast club thing, really great idea. But it's only because they want to keep their breakfast club at the Houses of Commons, I think.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I want to lose that allowance, do they? It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then what happened to give to charity then? You see, I lost all respect when they started coming out saying that all people that claim benefits are fraudsters. I lost all respect. That was the moment that you diminished any type of respect that I even had. Because, what they keep saying? It's projecting, you're projecting, you're projecting. Right you are. Let's have a little dive, shall we? and then this, then it's freeing up money, and then you're finding all of this money from somewhere to do what with? I don't remember this ever being written into the tax agreement.
Yeah.
So, unless these laws have changed again, so no, Keir, I think this is something that your party is very good at doing. You're scheming people, you're scamming people. This is a scam. This is literally a scam to make the wealthy wealthier. And there it is. That comes back full circle.
Yeah,
Because you got a load of incentives.
Yeah.
You were given some stuff. And I often wondered where that... Let it go and see what happens. So what type of working class are you there for? Because it doesn't seem like you're there for the people. Although it comes across as an illusion that it's there for you.
No, no.
But look, see, we can't... Look, they won't... Look, we've got rid of no-fault evictions. Come on,
The
look.
taxes are there for you, for working people or for whatever people, any people. Taxes are for everyone. To pay, not to get.
So then what's the point in having the council where the enforcement officers could go and enforce this? Well, couldn't they? Environmental health?
Mm-hmm.
They could go and enforce it, couldn't they?
Yeah.
That makes a lot of jobs, doesn't it?
In other countries, usually there's given reasonable time, like 10, 15 years, within which you have to do it. And then they go with thermal cameras and check wherever it was done, if it's properly done. And then those properties are off the hook because they've done what they were supposed to do, their own.
So Russia lost all of these corporations, right, when they went to war with Ukraine. Well, whatever side of the fence you're on, I just want to look at it from a creative perspective, yes, for the people that are in Russia, yes?
Yeah.
That are neither for nor against, yes? Just everyday people like you, me, and anybody else in any part of the world. We're all individuals that go about our shit, our business, yes? Now, I'm not looking at it from the perspective of all of that. Let's remove all of that negativity because it kind of clouds up the environment. But they lost a lot of corporations, right?
Yeah.
Then that meant that the everyday people actually got a frickin' chance. And they started making their own versions of burgers. They started making their own versions of meat houses. They started making their own stuff. This must be a real flourishing time. If there is no war turnout, this is very eye-opening.
They have their own food. They don't need burgers. They can eat whatever they have, and it's a good food as well.
Yes, but most of these companies were moved out.
Yeah.
Right? We saw this in Germany once, where all the companies moved out.
Yeah.
And this got the invention of Fanta.
Yeah.
It also made an invention of many other products as well. When companies move out, it's almost like the hogging stops. And then the question becomes, are Russian everyday people or the Russian Federation, whoever, whenever, are they ever going to let these corporations back? That's the real question here. Would they ever let those corporations back into their nation?
Yeah.
And then if it comes to the Russian people, would they want them to come back? That means that they'd lose all of their jobs, their creativity is gone. And even if they did come back, would the everyday people want it back? And if they can do it, so can we.
Yeah, they probably would try with something smaller and people wouldn't be interested and that would be it.
Well, yeah, but again, if going in the next 10 years, what could they do? What could they build? I'm curious. You see, I love creativity. This is where I'm at. Destruction, not my thing.
I've heard from Russia and Europe when I was in Europe, like that
Shall we
everything.
stop this one here and then go on to another one, I think? We can hold the same conversation.